Welcome to another episode of Social Media Introvert. Today my guest is Eric Moran Films. I'll just go ahead and add the films. Say hi, Eric.
Hello, everyone.
So as this goes, as I explained to everybody, simply it's going to start with YouTube related questions, orchestrated, that I ask everyone. Then some questions that I want to ask. Open floor is where you get to ask me whatever you want, talk about whatever topic you want to talk about. And then some questions that's been submitted, and we wrap up. Tell everyone who you are, what you do, all that great stuff.
Okay, so my name is Eric Moran. I've been making the YouTube channel Eric Moran Films for, I guess, over 6 years now. Basically on there I do like kind of comedy style stuff and, commentary and kind of stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And right now I'm also a college student studying journalism in Chicago. So I kind of balance those two things together during the school year. I balance YouTube, which is right now mainly a hobby, and then school, and then also my job in the summer. So it's kind of the brief intro.
Perfect. So let's start with the YouTube. Okay, so what got you into social media? What was that moment that you wanted to pick up a camera and do a YouTube?
Yeah, so I think the first time I ever actually found interest in like the camera was probably my like trip to Disney World when I was like 6 years old. Mm-hmm. And then I was really obsessed with the camera, but then that just kind of stopped. And then 2 years later, I started watching a lot of I started getting into Legos, and so I wanted to like know everything about Legos, so I would research Legos or whatever. And then I found YouTube through that. And then I saw people making like stop motions with Legos, like where they do like the pictures or whatever. It's really cool. Yeah. And so I was like, oh, I want to do that too. So that was like my first kind of on YouTube. Like I had a channel. It had probably like literally like 0 subscribers. I'm not kidding when I say that. And I would upload on there and no one would watch. And that's kind of where it started. And then I would go through then I would always just do a channel. Then I would go through phases. So then I had like a weird Club Penguin phase, and I had a channel for that. Mm-hmm. And then it eventually evolved into what I have today. So I think once I created a channel, and like when I was 8, I always liked creating stuff. I always produce stuff out there. So I think the love came from Legos, and then it just kept developing into all my other interests. And then now it's where it is today, which is my nonsense now.
Well, that's a very expansive history.
Yeah.
A transformation. Well, how do I want to phrase this question? What kind of made you transition from average like YouTube content to doing like the commentary content that you do now? Because for those of you at home who don't know, Eric's channel is kind of like commentary. He talks about things that are like, I guess you could say trending, right?
Yeah, you could say that.
Yeah. So like the Logan Paul situation, when that happened, he talked about give me some examples. I'm running. I've
jumped into the Jake Pauls. I've jumped into I don't even remember at this point. The Backpack Kid, all those fun people.
Yeah.
I guess to answer that question, I think it's kind of interesting looking back on it, because a lot of my channel was just kind of me ranting and talking about random topics that interested me, like, stuff about school, things I hated about school. It's just my way of like venting out my frustrations or whatever. Mm-hmm. But then, I started to watch like commentary content, and then that's when I started to kind of shift it. But it wasn't like a complete transition, because I would still go off and on. Mm-hmm. But I think when the Logan Paul situation happened, I made a video about the whole suicide force thing, because And I think a lot of people think like, oh, you just did it for views. I don't think obviously I knew in the back of my head that if I was making a video on a really popular topic, it was going to get views. Mm-hmm. But obviously I wasn't expecting 300,000, which is what it ended up getting. But then from that, I had like 1,000 new subscribers who expected that type of content. And then so I kept producing it. And the thing is I like doing it. I don't have a problem with it. So that's kind of when I kind of made the transition, because now I have 1,000 new people expecting that kind of stuff. And I'm like, well, I don't want to let them down. So it's kind of hard balancing those two. And now I've kind of gone back to like just doing pretty much whatever. Like I do commentary. And then I also do like, you know, regular stuff as well, like vlogs and stuff like that. But I think the reason why I got serious into the commentary thing is because I thought, oh, that's like the only thing I'm good for. That's the only thing that people want me for. And then I started to realize, well, you know, people subscribe for my personality, so I can switch it up, which is what I'm doing now.
Yeah, so it was like mainly just trying to, I guess, appease the masses. What was popular at the time.
100%, because a lot of it was like I followed up with like 3 Logan Paul videos, and then I'm like, okay, I can't do this anymore, because the videos I would make on him did well because that's what people knew me from, and they would watch those, and then so those would always do well. Like I remember, like, I uploaded a couple after that, and they would both get like 2,000, 3,000 views, and I was like, wow. But then it just kind of gets draining.
Because like it's always something that has to be, I don't know, because I feel like doing something with Logan Paul, being that he kind of does shit left and right nonstop, it's like, okay, great, I gotta constantly make sure I'm on time in reporting this stuff, and it gets exhausting. Yeah, no, it gets exhausting, and then it's also like, it started to get to the point where like I would see him trending on like Twitter or whatever, and it would be for things that I didn't think were like a big deal. It's like, all right, now I feel like the media and everyone's speaking. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't necessarily like him, but I don't think he's as bad as a figure as people make him out to be, and I didn't want to like contribute to that. I was like, I'm gonna just leave that, because there's some things that he does that people just like are like, oh, he's an awful person. I'm like, you know, I don't know. I think he's definitely not perfect, and I don't know. I just got tired of him, honestly, and I was just like, I'm gonna take a break. That's good, because honestly, I don't know what else more can be reported about him at this point.
No, there's literally nothing. and I think he's on an actual redemption arc, so I wish the best for him. Obviously, I hope he. I don't want to see anyone like fail or anything, so I think he's on the right track. For the most part,
he's been quiet. That's good.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Like, he just needs to stay out of controversy, and it'll be fine.
Yeah. So how long have you been doing YouTube?
Well, so in 2008, I started it when I was 8 years old, and then obviously it was like a little off and on, like 2009, 2010. Like it wasn't like it wasn't something that I took seriously. It was just something that I would upload random video projects to. But like my channel, the one I have now, I've been doing for 6 years and been doing seriously for 6 years. So I've pretty much like grown up on the platform essentially, because I've been making content on it since like 2008. And then with that, you see a lot of people who you're like friendly with grow to be like bigger and stuff like that. So it's really cool to see like that over time, and also see like what subscribers have stuck with you throughout the full, 5 year period, because there are a few who've been there that long. So yeah, I would say about 6 years seriously, but 8 it would be like
8
yeah, something like that.
Before you started doing commentary stuff,
sure,
did you have like any inspirations, like people you looked up to who did this kind of stuff, like, oh hey, I want to try this because I'd see them doing it?
You mean I'm sorry, was that that inspired me to do commentary, or inspired me to do the like thing I was doing before?
Commentary.
Okay. Honestly, not really. I mean, like, I would watch, like, the thing is I would watch them, but I don't know if there was any like particular person that I was like, oh, I'm gonna try to like model this after, because like the way I watch YouTube is kind of weird. I don't have any like specific people that I like really follow or pay attention to. I just watch whatever on like my trending page. So I think that's kind of how it worked out for me. I definitely Nathan Zed, the third Pew, that was like his YouTube name, and I think he still makes videos, but he inspired me to like I used to do challenges, like that was the very beginning of my channel, and he inspired me to like be more creative with my stuff. So then I started to do that, and then from there I just kind of went into the commentary thing kind of on my own. Like, I don't think there was anyone I would attribute that to, but I would say going from the challenges to like more creative stuff, I would say it's definitely him.
I don't know, is that kind of why you switched Because you just, I don't know, just didn't feel like the usual challenge stuff was, like, interesting anymore?
Yeah, no, it absolutely was not. And it got to a point where I'd already done everything that I could really do. Like, I did all of them. And the thing is I don't have anything against people who make that kind of stuff. But honestly, it's 2019. I don't really know too many people who still do, like, the chubby bunny challenge or whatever. I don't even know. I hope that's not still a thing.
It is.
But it is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that's unfortunate. But still, I mean, at the end of the day, like, I really don't. I really don't care. But I think like, the thing is like, I don't know. Some of them were fun. Like, I ate an entire lemon. That was pretty fun. I ate an onion. That was cool. But then it got to a point where I was just like, I don't know. Like, I feel like I could be. I felt like I was capable of more. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of. And then through watching other creators who I really like do, like, more creative stuff, I was like, yeah, I'm definitely capable of doing more than just sitting on camera and, like, eating gross food. Not trying to knock against anyone who does that. Like, sincerely, I mean, at the end of the day, it's your channel. You can do whatever you want. But I personally thought there was more, like, fulfilling stuff I could do, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. Because I felt like once you start to do that, I guess, repetitive thing, if that makes sense. So, like, something that's been done over and over again, it's like, great, what more can I do with this? It's like beating a dead horse at this point.
Yeah, I literally couldn't do anything more with it, so that's kind of why I switched.
So, the content that you do now, is the way I want to phrase this without sounding like you've regretted. So, the content that you do now, does it make you happy?
Yeah, I'd say so. I think it definitely does. So, basically, for those of you who are unfamiliar, basically kind of what I do now is I do the commentary stuff, but then I'll also talk about stuff that's going on in my life and all that kind of stuff. And I think it does make me happy, but I think where, like, the frustration comes in is where it's like, well, what do people want to see? And then it's also frustrating sometimes when I'll make, like, commentary stuff that'll get a lot more views than, like, stuff that I might have put more work into, like a vlog or something like that. So I think I would say that's frustrating, but that doesn't mean I'm not happy with it. Like, none of the stuff recently that the stuff that I posted recently, I'm really proud of. Like, I really like the vlogs I've been doing. I really enjoy the the college videos I've been doing, and even the commentary ones I've been doing too. The thing is that I've started to, I think the reason why I'm happy with doing the commentary stuff now is I've started to only really talk about certain topics that, like, I genuinely find interesting. Because I think there was a point in my channel where I was just talking about things that realistically I didn't care about. And it's not like I was doing it for views. I was genuinely doing it to, like, just feed the masses and just to, like, because people liked them, they enjoyed them. But I definitely think that now I'm more happy with it because I don't report on everything. It's like now I'll only pick things that I think I can contribute meaningfully to and that need to be talked about. So yeah, I'm pretty satisfied with where I'm at currently.
That's good, because I feel like once you kind of like stop doing things to just, I guess, fill up space in a way, it becomes more of an enjoyable process.
Oh yeah, of course. And the thing that sucks about that is that I think I have noticed that sometimes they might not get as many views as I want them to, and I've gotten a lot better at just not caring. I mean, I'll still get, like, 300 views a video, which I'm really satisfied with. But it's also like I've gotten a lot better at just not paying attention to it and just being like, this is the stuff I like making, I'm going to just do it because it makes me happy. And in the process, there's going to be people who like it. So it's kind of like a win-win. So, yeah, I don't know.
Get a new audience, whatever you try new and things like that. So outside of social media, Eric kind of lightly covered in the beginning. He does go to college. Let's talk about that. How's college? What is it like? Let people know.
Yeah. Okay. So for those of you who are unfamiliar, this is very public information, so I don't really mind sharing it. But I go to Loyola Chicago. And I just finished my first semester like a couple months ago. And I think it was definitely challenging because I went to a new place. Like, I'd always want to live in Chicago, but I didn't know anyone there. I literally I knew like one kid, but not very well.
Why Chicago?
Why? Because my family's like from that area. And I've always grown up kind of liking the Chicago sports teams. And then also, like, I want to get into journalism. I think I mentioned that at the beginning. Like, preferably, like, doing something with, like, television or radio or something like that. Journalism, like, broadcast. And And the thing about Chicago is that it's a really good market. Like, it's a big market for news, you know, next to New York and places like that. But it's like a big market. And I was like, well, if I could go there, get an internship with like one of those big networks, like that would put my foot in the door, which is kind of where I'm leaning now. And I'm doing a lot of work there with that. So that's kind of why I chose it. And also, like, it's a great city. I definitely haven't been able to explore it as much as I would have liked to. But my first year, just because like stress and everything. But I still like it's also just like a beautiful city. Like, yeah, it's cold, but it's like, I don't know. It's a lot of fun. So that's, and also I just really like the school, and I was like, I have to go here. So.
But anyway, go ahead and finish about college. Sorry.
Yeah, sure. No worries. So I think it was fine. I think definitely, what I realized is that I really had to be out of my shell and just kind of go out of my comfort zone a lot to meet new people. And if I'm speaking honestly, I definitely didn't meet as many friends as I would have liked to. But that's not to say that I didn't meet good people who I'm not happy that I met, because I met plenty of good people. But I think I definitely could have broken out of my shell, and I know I'll do that next year. Because especially now at my school, a lot more people know who I am because of my channel. Because I put Loyola in the thing when I do my college videos. So now I have a lot of people reaching out to me. So I know I'm going to already have a lot of new people next year. But I think it was definitely like, I don't know. I think it was a lot to handle, just like to like you're thrown into a new environment where you have to like suddenly, yeah, you have to adjust. You have to, but in the meantime, you have to do school. You have to always do errands, like, you know, all that stuff, like get food, do your laundry, all this stuff. And while doing school and while adjusting to a completely new environment. So it's really a lot, and trying to maintain a social life. So it's really a lot, but I definitely, like, I didn't hate it. I think the thing about college is there's definitely a lot more freedom, which I really enjoyed, which definitely helped with my channel too. Just kind of being able to plan my own schedules. It's a lot better than like high school was. So I don't know. I mean, overall I was satisfied, but I know where I can improve. Like academics, I thought I did fine. Like I worked really hard, and that's the thing. Like I'm satisfied with that. But like other things, like social stuff, I'll definitely try to work on that. So I don't know. It went pretty well for the most part.
Are you studying journalism?
Yeah. So I'm studying like multimedia journalism. So it's like broadcast. So ideally just working on like a television set or something. And I did a club my first year. Essentially what it was is that it's called the Rambler Sports Locker. And what we do is each week we produce a show, like a professionally, made show in which we talk about sports at Loyola. So basketball, soccer, all like the sports. And it's good like experience for just reporting in general. But that was like a club, but it was because like the first couple of years at college, I'm taking a lot of gen ed, so things that are required in order to get my degree. So these things aren't related to journalism at all. So like my first year, I literally took like no classes that I really cared about, if I'm being completely honest. Maybe one or two I found okay, but that's why like right now it's just all things that I have to take in order to graduate. So that kind of sucks. But that's why like in the meantime I'll do like stuff, because they have a studio downtown and you just have to volunteer, like you just have to sign up for clubs and put yourself out there essentially.
Would you go back to doing the broadcasting thing? Because I'm sure I don't know, I guess if you just get your credits for the classes that you need to graduate, you'll be able to open it back up to do it again.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. It's like I know I'm absolutely gonna do it, just because it's really good experience. Because there's people who are studying the same thing as me who their first year of college still don't have any experience with it, which is good. That I do in a way. Like there were only really like a few freshmen who were invited to. There was like a big basketball tournament, and I was invited to cover it, which was like the coolest thing in the world. So yeah, I continue to do it, and I don't know. I mean, I think it's really good real world experience in that field.
So you said you work. Where do you work?
So I'm a summer camp counselor. So it's only in the only in the summer. Obviously.
Yeah. Obviously.
It's like 40 hours a week. So it's really kind of exhausting. But I use a lot of the money for like just basic necessities in college and saving it and kind of stuff like that. But I really enjoy my the current job I have. I've worked there for like 4 summers now, and it's just like, it's really rewarding because I work a lot with younger kids, and it can be frustrating sometimes if I'm being honest. But it's like, it's also like, it's just a really rewarding thing because, you know, soon, I mean, you watch these kids like develop over the course of the summer, and I don't know. I mean, I enjoy it. The pay's fine. Obviously, I guess the one complaint would be is that it's very tiresome. So when I come home, I'm exhausted and I don't want to make videos. So that's kind of where I like the fact that I'm doing this interview now even speaks a lot because like I'm just like, you know, I'm just exhausted after every work day. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's something that I have to do, and I don't want to just sit around and do nothing. Because that's how the beginning of my summer usually starts, and it's just like, that's boring. So I need something to keep me occupied, and that also makes me money. So
yeah. What do you like, the arts and craft teacher or something?
Actually, yeah.
Oh.
That's not even like 100%. That is actually what I am. So I like, the camp I do is like traditional camp, which is basically like, we'll go outside, we'll have like themes, so like arts and crafts themes, and we'll do different activities. But the thing is I like playing sports and I like going outside, but being a counselor and doing that is a completely different thing because you have all these kids outside at the same time, and it's just really stressful. So I really like the laid back, like arts and crafts kind of thing. But yeah, that's literally what I've been doing for like the way my work works is that they'll give you like a new camp usually every week. But for me, like last year, they're like, yeah, you're good with the 4-year-olds or whatever. Just keep doing them. And at first it was like, okay. But now I've started to really like it. So, but yeah, I mean, I genuinely, like, I actually do arts and crafts. So
that was just a lucky guess.
No, like, seriously what I do. That's literally like my job.
So like what? Different camps come to you?
No, so like it's every week it's like a new set of kids. It's like the same summer
like
camp, but it's like a weekly thing. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So, me and Eric, we met back in 2016 at Places DC. I want to know, what was your first impression of me?
Well, so I was familiar with you because I had seen you on Twitter, and I think I had seen your YouTube videos as well. I don't honestly. I think it was just overall like positive vibes. I think you might. I don't know. Were you shy? I can't remember. I'm not entirely. But honestly, I didn't like. There wasn't any negative thing there because you seemed really friendly. You seemed really nice. I think if anything, it's just I probably didn't do as good of a job as reaching out to you and other people. Just because I'm not the best at that. But I don't think there there definitely wasn't any. I definitely didn't have anything against you because I think the first time I heard you talk was at like a panel for like smaller YouTubers or whatever, and I got exactly, and I got overall good vibes. Like I really enjoyed that panel, so I don't think I had any. No, there was nothing bad there. Just like this just seems like a cool dude. But I didn't really think much of any of the people there. Like I don't know, I didn't really read too much into it.
I always wonder I don't know. You never know how people view you when they first meet you. So it's like
it's absolutely true, yeah. And I want to know how you viewed me now, because now I'm kind of curious. Because I feel like the thing is like I think I definitely present myself in a way that I don't know. I feel like people can automatically get like bad vibes from. I don't know. I really don't know. But I think some people might not understand like my sarcasm or my sense of humor, kind of stuff like that, and that's something that I'm really conscious of. So I don't even know if you remember, but
I do. I was wanting to say that next, actually.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. When I first met you, because I met you through, I officially met you through Brandon, and you're pretty chill. Pretty just laid back, pretty chill, pretty nonchalant, really. So I didn't really, have an issue with you. I was like, okay, he's pretty much just laid back, so no problems.
Yeah.
But I will say, however, not me, but from experience of other people, like when I talk to other people, like for instance in Stay Shook, they are like, well, when I first met Eric, I didn't think he liked me. I didn't think, he really cared,
Yeah.
So a lot of people do get that kind of vibe of like, oh, Eric kind of like doesn't care. He's like,
yeah. No, I completely
sarcastic
understand.
and things like that.
Yeah.
So,
No, and that's the thing. It's like the honest truth is that I do. It's just I'm not good at like showing it. But like hearing that stuff doesn't really like bother me because I understand that's how I kind of. I've gotten better at it. But I think that's just like I don't know. That could go with social anxiety. That could go with a lot of things. But there was definitely. I don't think I really hated. I usually don't hate people unless I have a valid reason to hate them, and none of these people I didn't have a good reason to hate them at all because I barely knew them, you know. So, but I completely understand that, and I think I might have heard that before too. But
I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely kind of my vibe.
Yeah, but well, you're getting better. I will say that you're getting better. So, I have some questions sent in from people. To ask you, one of them comes from Twitter, from Zafara Jazz, I guess. I'm just gonna go with that.
Okay.
And their question is, what are some things that make you feel hopeful when you think about YouTube as an ongoing career, not only for yourself, but for future creators?
Okay. Well, I think for myself, and honestly, I'm not entirely sure that I'm hopeful that it would, and honestly, I wouldn't, honestly, the ideal situation would be that it'd be something that I can make money on the side, like, you know, a couple $100s a month, which is not what it is now, but, like, that would be ideal for me, and then have, like, a quote-unquote real job. But I think what makes me hopeful for that is that I get, like, there's a lot of positive feedback, and there's always, like, sure, it might not be growing the way I want it to, and it has been growing a little better now, but I think it's always, like, the people getting the comments, and I'm sure you've seen things like this before, where it's like, oh, like, why don't you have more subscribers or stuff like that? Like, hearing that and hearing that people think that I have that potential, that's what gives me hope. And the second part of the question is what gives me hope to other creators. I'll take a slightly kind of dark approach to that and kind of say that I'm not entirely sure that, like, 2019 YouTube, that it's a lot harder to grow now, and it's a lot harder to make money off of YouTube, especially when you have, like, demonetization, copyright claims. Like, it's so hard to grow now. I mean, it's one thing to grow, but it's also, like, making money. So to that part of the question, when they say as a career, I don't know how hopeful I am for, like, new people to make a career out of it, because a lot of things have already been done. It's hard to, like, distance yourself from everyone. And also, like, you know, edgier content and kind of stuff like that's not really going to work on YouTube now. And it's harder to make money. So I don't know. I mean, I do have hope for myself, but as, like, a full, like, big picture, I think it's definitely going to be a lot harder, because you even see big YouTubers now, 1 million subscribers, who are complaining about their, you know, economic situation, saying, oh, you know, I see some post their ads, like I saw, or like their ad revenue. I saw someone, I think it was Boogie, he's a bigger YouTuber, but he had a video with like 600,000 views, and he made like $400 off of that, which is insane. It's definitely going in the wrong direction, I'd say.
Because I feel like now in order to grow on YouTube, you had to be, like, I guess, a part of, like, the quote-unquote golden era, which is like 2007 to like 2014. Then you have, like, full potential to grow, full potential to really have a chance of making it. And I feel like after that, it's just like, you're ruined.
I mean, there are some who have been able to, like kind of people like Emma Chamberlain and stuff like that, who are a lot more recent, but still, it's still a lot harder to grow. So that's why I'm not entirely hopeful. Obviously, I want to be, and we'll see how things change, but it's not looking too good. Yeah,
I feel like since so many things have changed on the platform.
Oh yeah,
it's like the wiggle room that a lot of creators had are gone. So it's like now you gotta be on a strict kind of.
No, a lot of them have to censor themselves. They can't say certain things anymore. They, like, you see a lot more people bleeping out words. Like, I never cursed in the first place, but you see a ton of on my channel. But you see a lot more people, like, having to be more conservative with kind of the content that they post. And it's like, well, now you see these people, they're not being able to be as open. And they're not able to be themselves, which sucks. But the thing is like, you understand why they're doing it, because they still have to try to make a living.
I think that's why I bleep my channel, but I don't get revenue from it. But I think that's why I have bleeped my channel. It's like, I don't know, if I do get to that point where I could potentially get money for it, it's like, well, at least they can't beat me to the punch of trying to, like, demonetize me for something they can't demonetize me for. So it's like, I don't know, just like it's like at this point you have to try to have the upper hand against YouTube if you want to make it.
Pretty much. Essentially.
Next question comes from Obo2000 on Instagram. His question is, Eric, when did you get your start in YouTube, and would you ever shout out him?
Shout out who?
Obo2000.
Oh, shout out him.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to Obo2000. I know him. He's from school.
No.
But my high school. Yeah. So like the start on YouTube, I think we talked about it earlier, but that was like in 2008, kind of that range. But really, like seriously, kind of 2013. That's definitely when I began to actually consider it a lot more serious. And I will say, just to kind of add on more to that, I think starting out, especially like at age 13, when I began like my Eric Moran Films channel, was probably one of like I was like kind of the odd kid. Like I was like the weird kid. It was very hard because a lot of people, actually for the most part, a lot of people were supportive about it, especially when I had like under 100 subscribers. But there was still a lot of judgment. I definitely had like self-confidence issues because of it, because I felt like people were always talking, bad about me and stuff, even in reality, like they probably weren't. So I don't know.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because I don't know, when you start on something new, it's like you always have this idea of like, okay, well, how are people viewing it? How are people interpreting what I'm doing? So that makes complete sense.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, like, I know I shouldn't care, but like I did. I mean, now I've gotten a lot better at not really caring, but at the time, of course I cared. I was a 13-year-old kid, 14, 15,
Yeah.
But I'm glad I started. I'm glad I did. I really don't know where I would be with, without doing it. So.
Yeah. Next question comes from Niam Reagan, and their question is, what kind of games do you enjoy playing in your free time? Any thoughts about YouTube gaming?
Yeah. So, I right now I don't play video games, and I think the reason for that is because. Honestly, it's always been because of YouTube. Like my friends, like their hobbies have always been video games, and that's how a lot of them still keep in touch even after high school, is that they play video games with each other. But I've just never really been into that because it's always been like, I want to create something. And my mom has said this. She's like, I am so happy that, not to knock people who play video games, because don't get me wrong, like video games are cool, but she's like, I'm so glad that you found this YouTube thing and that like you're creating stuff, because that's much more of a productive use of your time than just playing a video game and not really creating anything out of it. I did play Minecraft when I was like 14, and I did enjoy that, and I met a lot of like friends from it, as funny as it sounds. Only a few who I still talk to today, but still, like I played that, and then I saw it taking up a lot of my time, and I was like, and then I grew out of it, but then I realized, I was like, you know what? I was spending too much time doing this. Yes, it's good to talk to friends, and I don't regret doing that, but I think I could have been doing something more productive while talking to my friends. So I don't know. But I haven't really, like, sure, I'll like download apps on my phone and play games in like the waiting room and stuff. But now it's not really, I don't really play video games at all. And I don't really watch too much gaming content in general, unless it's like comedy gaming content where you don't really need to understand the game to enjoy it. But when it comes to like walkthroughs and let's plays, I can't do that because I have no idea what's going on.
What do you mean? It's literally just...
No, because like I just don't understand. I don't understand the game. Like I don't understand it. I don't get it.
Oh, okay. Like, well, that's true, because I think some people don't... Yeah, a lot of people don't really describe what the game is. It's like, okay, great.
No.
It's this game. It's going to be a horror game or whatever. Let's play.
Yeah, like if they don't have like and this isn't to be mean, if they don't have like a personality, and they're not like, when people are like, yeah, I mean, I just really enjoy when people add humor into it, and then I can watch, like I've watched like Fortnite videos of people who are really funny, and I've never played a game of Fortnite, and I don't understand it.
Next question comes from Jim Balls. Are you planning on dating an e-girl?
Am I planning on dating an e-girl? That's a great question. I think the question should be, am I planning on dating a girl in general? I don't know. I mean, no, I don't plan on it. I plan on meeting. Now, I have talked to a lot of women online. And I will say, I think I have more game online than I do in person, which I think is probably because of just like, it's a completely different thing in person.
Because it's not face to face.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like I'm more smooth, as it were. But no, I mean, honestly, it would have to be someone that, like, sure, if I met him online, but I would have to have, like, met them a lot, like, in person and kind of stuff like that, and live near them. So realistically, probably not. Still, if you are a girl who's over the age of 18, feel free to slide into my DMs. I'm not opposing that idea.
There you have it, I guess. And next question comes from Neil9725. And their question is, how did you feel when you found out that you were the biggest YouTuber at Loyola?
Okay. So honestly, before I committed to my school, I looked up like Loyola related content, because there's a lot of people who will make content at their colleges, because that's like a lifestyle thing. It's surprisingly a big amount of people enjoy watching college related content because they're like nervous for it. And so I was looking up and I was like, oh, there's like, not to knock anyone, but it was like there weren't a lot of people who were in the 1,000 range. Maybe there were like one or two. Not that I viewed it as a competition, but it was just an observation that I had made. And then I started to make content at my school. And then I realized, like, when people looked up my school, my stuff would usually be the first thing that popped up. Sometimes there's people above me, which I'm a little salty about. Like, the thing is like, I have more subscribers than them, yes, but they're like, college videos may get a little more views, and but still, like, I mean, obviously, like, at the end of the day, I don't really care, but I think it's really cool that when you look up my school, you can see videos of me, and I've gotten a lot of nice messages from students, and I've had some weird instances of people, like someone knocked on my door at night once wanting to meet me because they found out where I lived, which was yeah. And then I also got like a note on my door once. Like, people don't really handle the YouTube thing the best at my school. Now, I'm grateful for everyone I've met who've said that they've seen my videos, because that's happened a handful of times, and that's like the coolest thing ever, that like fellow peers enjoy what I do. But I don't know. I mean, it's cool, and hopefully I form some meaningful relationships out of it, because I'd love to talk to all these people who've seen my videos.
Well, hopefully they're not all like crazy stalkers like that person.
Yeah. No, there are a few who probably don't handle it in the best way possible, but at the end of the day, I'm just grateful that they enjoy what I do. Yeah.
Well, I feel like a lot of people will probably look for that, and part of why you're so popular is because I feel like that's the kind of content people watch when they're like ready to graduate high school.
Yeah.
Like, well, what is this college like? What can I expect? What is it like living there? It's kind of like a virtual handbook, kind of, in a way.
Yeah. No. Well, the thing is that the weird thing is that I never went to YouTube when it came to college related anxieties and like, oh, what's college like? Like, I just kind of was like, oh, I'll figure it out. And I did, and it's weird because a lot of people look at my videos trying to get something meaningful out of it, but in reality, they just see me making a fool out of myself on my campus and just kind of like messing around, and they'll be like, yeah, it wasn't exactly what I was looking for, but it was pretty funny. So, and you kind of get a day in my life, like you kind of figure out what's going on, but it's still, it is nice that people, I mean, it's cool that people go there to like kind of make themselves feel more comfortable with everything and still get like a good outcome out of it, that they enjoy the stuff that I do.
Well, that's it for the questions. Now we're at the open floor portion. You are free to ask me any question you'd like to ask me, or talk about any topic you want to talk about. It's all up to you.
Oh God. Kind of, I think I knew this was coming, and I still like have I don't know. What do you think, like, happened? I don't know how to phrase it. Like, I don't know. Me personally, I mean, for those of you who are listening and don't really know the context of anything, we did meet in, like, 2016, and, like, there was, like, a group of people who I hung out with at Playlist, and then we went on to, like, form a collab channel and everything, which kind of flopped, which was partly my fault, but just because I wasn't ready for it. And And then also like a year, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what happened. And then we just kind of, everyone just kind of, I don't know if everyone still talks to each other. Like, I feel like I've just completely lost touch with everyone. I don't know if you feel the same way.
Is that your question?
Yeah.
Well, okay. Oh, let me backtrack. It was like 3 questions in one. So in terms of the channel, where it went wrong, it's just communication. We couldn't be on the same page. People weren't really committed as they planned on being. So that kind of caused it to fail. Which, by the way, I don't know if you know this. The channel now has 500 subscribers.
Yeah. Yeah. It must have been like one video or something that blew up. Is that something that happened?
I don't know, but it's still growing to this day.
That's cool.
Well, it's not, because it's like, oh, maybe they're going to come back. It's like, no, it's done. Yeah. Don't get your hopes up.
Well, yeah.
In terms of what happened between everyone and, like, you know, if we still talk and things like that, there was a point in time where a few people kind of fell out with each other. Well, I've talked about it with the past guests, so I can go ahead and talk about it with you. There was a situation where Nora and Brandon kind of had a falling out. They made up, they're friends now again. There was a situation where, well, I don't know how things are with you and Casey, but there was a moment when Casey just didn't like you.
Yeah, no, I would, and Casey, yeah, so I actually always liked her and thought she was cool, but I think I definitely wasn't. I think in our first or second encounter, I definitely wasn't the nicest I could have been, and I think that was definitely because of my humor. Mm-hmm. But I think recently, especially on like Twitter and all that stuff and through DMs, it's been nothing but like positive, and I've had no reason to believe that there's really anything there anymore. So
good terms.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I don't think I ever had anything against her. I think it was always just probably me being in the wrong, and I think I've definitely, and that's what sucks about a lot of those things is I think I definitely was at fault for a few things. I don't think I did anything like with malice or ill intent, but I think it's definitely hard to understand me and my humor sometimes. So yeah, but I'm cool with her. But I did get the vibe that she did not like me at one point, and I kind of understood why. So
yeah, okay, well. That's resolved. Then with you and Brandon.
Yeah, well, so I did listen to his thing, and I was surprised at the amount that he was talking about me. I was like, oh, wow. But the thing is like, he talked about some things that I don't remember being aware of, and, like, if I had known, I would have, and this isn't his fault at all. I would take responsibility, but, like, I listened to it, and I'm like, oh, did I do that? Like, if I did, like, that was awful, and I shouldn't have done it. And I talked to him recently, and I was kind of like, look, if I did anything to offend you or hurt you, like, I'm sorry. I didn't really, you know. There was one thing that he said that I don't think is true. Well, I'm not entirely sure it's true, but honestly, like, I don't even want to bring it up because it's like, I don't want to rehash it. Like, it's just like, it's kind of just put in the past, because at the end of the day, the people that I met through that collab channel, like, I have a lot of positive memories from, so I don't want to like ruin that. Yeah. But yeah, there were some things I was like, oh man, really? Like, you felt that way? Or like, I said this even though I don't think I did. But at the end of the day, it's like, you know, let's just put it in the past. Let's I don't know. I mean, yeah, move on, of course, because I feel like everyone's a lot older and more mature, and I think it's I think that's definitely, like, I was still like 16, 17. Not that makes it an excuse, because I'm still old enough to like know what's right and wrong, but I think I'm definitely, like, it's weird, like, the past couple of years I'm like a completely different person, I feel like, at least. Yeah. So
other than that, everything has been fine in terms of, I guess, with me and everyone else. I still try to like reach out to everyone. I think, yeah, because last week when I called you on FaceTime, I called like everyone else on FaceTime and just caught up with them, so we try to keep in touch.
No, I think with me, it's and this is like just branching it out not only to that specific group. It's that I don't do a great job of like keeping in touch with people and like making relationships last. That's just, and it has nothing to do with the people that I talk with or talk about. It's just I'm not great at it. Like, I lose contact with people, and people may be like, oh, he hates me, and sometimes I'll think they hate me, and it's just like this, you know, this cycle. Yeah, of course, it's miscommunication that could be so easily resolved if it was just like a simple text message, like, hey, you want to do this? And I've tried to do that recently, and here's what sucks. I've tried to do that recently with people. Not this specific collab group. Like, none of those people I really have a problem with at this point. Most of them I didn't really in the first place, but now it's like there's no one except you. I despise you, Mickey. But
feelings mutual.
Yeah, exactly. That was sarcasm, by the way, for those of you who don't know, just to make that completely clear, because some people can't differentiate that. But I think there were points where I tried to reach out to people who I used to be a lot close with, especially on YouTube. Mm-hmm. And I think either I waited too long or either I don't know. But you just realize that people change, and it's like it sucks, when people like. You used to, because as I mentioned, I've been doing it for so long. I've like grown up with people on this platform who I considered friends, and then you just kind of lose touch with them, and I don't know. I mean, that's been rough for me, and that's why I don't want to lose like the friends that I have made, and it's starting to happen just because I'm not good at, keeping contact, and connections with everyone. And that's what's good about having those YouTube events, is because it's always something that you can go back to. But now there's not like a Playlist Live DC. I can't always make Orlando. I can go to VidCon, but not everyone goes to VidCon. Mm-hmm. So it's like, you kind of got to go out of your way to try to reach out and interact with people. So, yeah, I think.
That's why you see me texting you every other month.
Yeah, no, I understand. And I think you're a lot better at doing that. And I think, and that's something I admire about you, is that you don't really want these relationships to go away, which I really respect. And it's something that, like, I don't know. I'm not. I kind of have trust issues in the first place with like forming relationships with people, so it's kind of hard for me too.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean I hate any of these people or anything. It's just, I don't know. And it's something I'm working on. Like, I think identifying that it's a problem is a part of solving it, and I'm identifying that it's like definitely something that I need to work on. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to. Like, as I've said, I've reached out to people, but sometimes you might not get the result you want. So yeah. I don't.
It just takes time. It'll kind of work out at some point.
That's what I figured. Hopefully.
Yeah. We'll see. Any other questions? Anything YouTube related you want to throw at me? Anything?
Oh yeah, I guess with you specifically, where do you see, like, because I will say this, I think from the collab channel that we had, it seemed to me that a lot of people have stopped like uploading content for whatever reason, and that's not to say that they don't have valid reasons, because I'm sure all of them absolutely do, whether it be school, whether it be work, whether it be anything like that. And me, the reason why I keep doing it is because I'm passionate about it and I want to keep doing it. Not to say that they aren't, but I guess I would say, like, what keeps you still doing it after, like, you see people, just so many people, not only in our friend group but just in general, just like who eventually quit. Like, what keeps you doing it? And I guess on top of that, like, do you see like yourself to do it in like the future down the line, like a couple years or so?
Well, what keeps me doing it, honestly, it's honestly the interactions that I get from the people who watch my channel and like the people that I've met through YouTube. With the interactions, there's one girl who is the sweetest person ever. Her name's Alyssa. She's always like constantly just so nice and supportive of everything I do, and having someone like that kind of is like, well, that's a nice feeling, to feel like something that I'm producing is bringing some kind of like joy or positivity to someone just for watching a video. So I honestly just, that feeling of like, I don't know, I have a purpose, it feels great.
Yeah.
So I just keep doing that, and it honestly is just something. And then also I was very passionate about it. I just love having something to control. So since I have something to run, control, be in charge of, and I can just do whatever I want without having to conform to what other people want me to do.
Yeah.
It's like great. This is something that I can put my vision on and really just go for it. And plus, it kind of adds to my interest of like, wanting to be an entertainer / performer or whatever. So it kind of just ties together for me. What was the second half?
Oh, like, do you see it as something like, I mean, not even like, do you think it'll grow? Mainly, like, do you think it's something that you do, a couple years down the line, even if it didn't, blow up to a career, if you know what I'm... Mm-hmm. Kind of like what we're both doing now. We're just kind of doing it because it's like fun? Do you think you'll keep doing that a couple years down the line?
I think so. I feel like I don't know. There's times, even like way back when, I just felt like I was going to hit my stopping point. I'm like, great, I've done everything I could possibly think of. That's it. But it's like somehow I just happen to pull out 10, 20, 30 more ideas. I'm like, okay, great, I guess I can keep going. So there is, of course, that fear of like, will I run out of ideas? Will I run out of concepts? What happens after that? But it's like, at some point, I pull something out of my ass and it works.
Yeah.
So I guess I can see. So it's like, yeah, I see myself going on. Just kind of give myself a panic attack about running out of ideas, and then when that happens, I'm back on track.
Yeah. No, I think it's definitely like, I think both of us are kind of on that. We definitely have I guess what keeps me going is that I have I have a light at the end of the tunnel. Like, I genuinely feel like it can get to a certain place. Even if it doesn't, it's just like, I don't know. I don't know what I would do without it, because as I've said, I've been doing it for so long, and I don't think I don't know how long you've been doing it, but the thing is I've literally done this almost my entire life, so I really don't know where I would be without it, and I'm kind of scared if I just quit it. Like, I'm not ready to quit right now. Like, I still got a lot, left in the tank, as it were. But I was just genuinely curious, because we're definitely not big creators in the slightest, both of us. But it's just like, it's interesting to see that we both still continue to do it. Yeah. And for different reasons. I mean, I think we have similar reasons. Like, I do enjoy like people who support my stuff and keep me going as well. I think that's a huge part of it. And which is why I have a lot of respect towards creators who have really small followings and don't have the most support in the world, but keep doing it, because it's like, I think the reason why I do it a lot is because of the constant support that I get. And I'm like, man, there's people out there uploading great content, but they're not getting a lot of response. And it's just like, how can they keep doing this? And to know, and your answer where you had, it's like, well, you have this one person who's so sweet, and just one person, how that can make a difference. I don't know. I think that's really fascinating and interesting, that all it takes is just one person to watch your content or say like, this really makes me happy, and then you're like, oh, like that's that's gonna keep me going for however long. So
yeah, because I feel like, I don't know, I guess since I've already been doing this for 4 years, I haven't really hit that mark of like, okay, I'm tired of this. But I honestly don't see myself getting tired of it, because it's like, whether I do, I mean, I'm very hopeful that someday I can get like 1 million or whatever. But yeah, if I don't, it's like, I'm fine with that. It's like, as long as I get to still at least make some kind of like, because with my channel, I try to be the little slice of life. It's like, great, my day sucked, I want a good laugh or just something to put me in a good mood. I try to be that channel. And just having that I guess reaction to my channel is all that really I need to just fuel me to keep going. So it's like, I don't need much at this point, basically.
Yeah, it's that's really interesting. I think I hope like it be down the line, like however long, like we'll go to those YouTube events when we're in wheelchairs or whatever. We'll see. I mean, I don't know. I mean, because you're one of the few people who I've like met through the entire thing. You and Jenna, who's one of my friends on that I met through that, but like who I see as someone who like is gonna keep doing it for a long time, no matter what happens. So I don't know. It's interesting.
I don't know, because I feel like a lot of people, I don't know, they expect us to just want numbers and followers, but it's like, not everyone wants that. I mean, yeah, it's a nice additive to having a YouTube channel and social media and stuff, but it's like, sometimes it's just simply just the interaction, the connection, and just the response. That's really all most people want.
Yeah, of course. And yeah, it is true. Like, of course I would want my channel to have, more subscribers, but that's not gonna deter me from making stuff, because at the end of the day, whenever I have those like bad thoughts about like, oh, the views aren't where I want them to be, it's like, well, why did you start this in the first place? And then you think back on it, well, I started it just mainly to have fun and entertain people, and I want to keep doing that. No matter, if I stopped it, I'm still letting down like 3,000 subscribers, or almost 4,000 now, but like 300 consistent people, like I feel like I'm letting them down. So I don't know. And I really do like those interactions as well that I get.
Because I also feel like a lot of people, because they don't get those interactions, that's probably why they're so concerned about popularity.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think there's a lot of people now who go into it, and I've seen this. Like I've seen friends that I've had who've made channels. I've seen just peers and whatnot start channels, and they'll always do it for like a couple months or a couple weeks even, and they'll do it consistently, and then they'll realize like, hey, like I'm not really getting anywhere with this, and then they just stop it. And then they just, delete everything and then pretend like it never existed. Yeah. And that's happened several times. And it's like obviously, I feel bad for them in a way because it's like, I understand that everyone wants to have, like, I want them to be able to express themselves creatively. But it's also like, I feel like at the end of the day, you're not doing it for the right reasons. If you're going to literally do it for like a couple weeks, realize it's too much work, realize, all this. And it's like, oh, well, I'm not getting... X number of views, I'm going to just stop. Like, I understand it can be discouraging, but then you're just like, well, I don't think you were doing it for the right reasons. Yeah, of course. I feel like in order to make a career out of it, it has to start from, like, humble beginnings and you not thinking that it can be a career, and then it eventually just suddenly becomes one. And that's kind of what I'm hoping happens eventually, or at least a part-time or whatever.
Because I feel like a lot of people expect overnight results.
That literally does not. Well, I will say I did get like 20,000. I did get like 300,000 views in a couple days. Like when I say overnight, like I literally woke up and my video had 20,000 views. This is the Logan Paul video for those of you who don't know. But even then, like think about it. I've been doing it for 6 years and I've only had like one overnight kind of thing, and it wasn't even that large scale. So like when you put that into perspective, think how unlikely it is for people who are just starting out, who still aren't comfortable in front of a camera. Like it is so, not to discourage them, because I think if you want to do it, you should absolutely do it, but not to discourage you, but you're not going to have that overnight success. It just, in all honesty, it just won't happen.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people, because that's how YouTube kind of started. It was like, great, because there was very few people popular on YouTube, it was easy for them to get popular overnight. Like prime example, like Shane Dawson, and several other people like him, because they were in that era of like, there's not really a lot of big YouTubers. It was easy for them. Yeah. But because now so many people are on the platform, and it's like, okay, great, you have to fight with millions of other people. It's not going to be an overnight thing. And plus, it's also about like, you have to establish a presence. I feel like it's important, if that makes sense. Basically, it's like, when you, like you said, like when you get in front of the camera, you have to have a presence, a personality, and you just can't think, oh, I'm just going to pick up my camera and just do this and it's going to be fine. It's like, no, you have to develop and pretty much grow. It's like building a house. You need a foundation, a solid, strong foundation, in order for it to flourish.
Yeah, I think I definitely, like, it took me a couple years to actually find, like, not a character, but like how I was like portraying myself in like the best way. Because I think if you watch my earlier videos, I was a completely different person. But then when it like came time, I was like, well, how can I make myself the most entertaining I can possibly be? And that took a few years. Like, that's generally, and I think people expect that instant success. And I think I don't know. I mean, I want people to start it. Like, if you want to start it, please please just do it. Like, I'm telling you, it's the most fun thing in the world. But understand that it's so much work, and it's a lot of work that you should, in all honesty, be getting paid for, but most people aren't. Like you and me, we're not really. Yeah. I mean, I will say I'm monetized now, but you need $100 to get a check, and I haven't reached $100 yet. So right now I'm not making anything. So I don't know. Because I get those questions all the time, like, oh, what, like I get people, it's happened less now because I think a lot more people are like discouraged by it, but I used to get those all the time, like, oh, like I want to start a YouTube channel, what do I do? And always give them advice, and then they'll start one, and then they'll just be done with it in like a month. That's kind of how it works. Yeah, that's how it is. Like, you genuinely need to be passionate about it, and you also need to have an insane work ethic as well. Like, your work ethic just needs, and that's probably why the reason I'm not as big as I could be is maybe I don't upload as much or do this. So it takes a lot, is what I'm trying to say.
I feel like a lot of people, I don't know, because for me, when I see a new smaller channel and I kind of like take a look at their like previous videos and see how they're improving, that's kind of what kind of catches my attention. Is like, great, they have this work ethic of like, I'm going to try to improve in a little way as possible, but also make enough change for my channel, if that makes sense. So it's because I feel like now, I personally don't think it's about being consistent, even though that's a thing you could factor into your success into growing on YouTube. But even sometimes people who aren't like consistent, they still do well because they have the effort put into their content. That's what it is. So a lot of people don't have that effort. It's like, great, I'm just going to do a half-ass job.
Yeah,
Think
they
it's
don't
funny.
understand.
And when it's not, and then it's like you post and it's like, okay, well, it's not doing too well. Well, if you put more effort into it, probably it would, you know?
Yeah, no, that's true. I've noticed that the whole like I have noticed that sometimes when I upload a lot more videos, I do tend to gain subscribers. But I also notice that when I take a video that I spend a lot of time on, it does well as well too. Now there will be some that I spend a lot of time on and don't get as many views as I would like them to. But I think also you're more proud of the product that you produce, which I think is a big part of it. Like you're a lot more satisfied with it after you spend, X amount of hours on it, because I think a lot of my videos take if you counter in everything, I would say 5 to 6 hours. And that's like writing, just like ideas, and sometimes I'll write out scripts or just things I don't want to miss, and then filming, editing, thumbnail. Like people don't realize how much that is. Like then you have to do titles, tags, which are a huge part of the video making process, is the titles and the tags, which people don't realize that it makes and the thumbnail, that's like the make or break like of your video. Like you can have a great video, but if you don't have a catchy title, not clickbait, but a catchy, like good title, the clickable title, and a good thumbnail, people are not going to watch it. Like it can be the greatest video in the world, and that's something that took me a while to learn. Like I used to not care about my thumbnails, but then I thought well, whenever I click on a video, it's usually because of the thumbnail or it's usually because of the title. So, and then a lot of people don't get that, and they don't understand the whole business behind it and all that stuff. Which at the end of the day, like I'd love to do like some type of, I'd love to do some panel or something, just relaying all these things, because I feel like it's a lot of valuable information that a lot of new people, I tried to do one of those VidCon panels, but they like rejected me. But I feel like there could be a lot of valuable stuff, because I feel like it's something that a lot of, especially new creators, need to hear. Because I think both of us could offer valuable insight into that, how much work it really is.
You need to try to come to Orlando.
I'll try to come to Orlando and get on a panel or something.
Yeah.
And talk to whoever wants to hear me talk. Because I could literally, I don't know if you picked up on it by now, when it comes to YouTube related stuff, I could literally talk about it for hours. That and like sports, but I could literally just sit here and talk about it for hours, because it's so interesting and there's so much that can be said about it.
Any other questions or topics?
Honestly, not that I can think of. I mean, we just went into like a tangent about YouTube for like 20 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
So however long that was, I don't know.
A lot of that stuff we really clumped into just all of that.
Yeah.
So, I don't know how to wrap this up. Well, I guess my final question, to wrap things up. Sure. What advice would you give to people who want to start YouTube, or people who are small channels and they want to enhance their channel, I guess? Yeah.
And the thing is that I get, as I mentioned, I get a lot of people who will come to me asking for stuff. And I will say it's like the most humbling thing in the world to have people that think that I'm worthy of giving them this information, because I don't see myself as, I know I'm not a big creator, but it's cool to see that people think that I could provide valuable insight into that kind of thing. Okay, so I would say that I definitely, I don't know. I mean, I think I tell them that you have to do it for the right reasons, and that you gotta just be yourself, your most authentic self. But I always preface it by saying it's a lot of work. I'm always like, this is going to be challenging. This is something that's not going to be easy. You got to make sure that you're committed to it, And also another big thing is I say make something that you would watch, because I feel like a lot of people don't understand this, is that like you can think, you can make something and spend time on it or whatever, but like if it's not something that you personally would watch, odds are other people aren't really going to watch it either. Like I'll see some people with their first couple videos, they'll be like 30-40 minute videos, and the reality is like I respect you making this long form content that's very bold and everything, but it's also like you just started out, you're making a 30-40 minute video, people don't know who you are, they're not going to watch it. And that's like, even with me, even after I have like a little bit of even if I have a little bit of a following, if you even want to call it that, what are the odds of people are gonna watch, like, I'm not referring to your subscribers, I'm saying my subscribers, what are the odds that they're gonna watch this entire podcast? Because it's a long thing, and then when it comes to that stuff, so I'm like, make it something that you would find entertaining, something that you would want to watch, and just kind of keep your head up. And then when it comes to growing, I mean, because I've noticed like my best videos would be like the commentary style things and the kind of things like that, but that doesn't mean everyone should do those. I genuinely say, like, try to find something that works for you, something that you enjoy, because it took me forever to find something that I really like to make. So I'd say keep experimenting. The great thing about being small is that you can experiment with so many different things, and most people won't care because you don't really have a huge base in the first place to like disappoint or whatever. Like you can literally just throw things at a wall and see if it sticks. Like that's literally what it is. Is like just trying to see what works. So experiment with so many other things. Don't try to be anybody. It's okay to take inspiration from people. I think everyone has. I think everyone's seen something and been inspired by it. But don't try to be another ex-clone YouTuber, because you're just not going to grow that way. So just, and obviously understand that it's not going to be easy, and try to establish relationships with other creators who are in the similar boat as you. I think that definitely helped for me, is especially going on early on, is establishing relationships, commenting on other people's videos, not saying sub for sub, not doing stuff like that, because that just irritates me, but supporting other creators.
By the way, Which, by the way, that is a huge lie. I've seen so many people do like videos like, oh, here's how I grew my channel. I went on other people's channels, like, hey, nice content, check out my channel. That honestly doesn't work. A lot of people find it annoying now. So,
No, that's absolutely right. Like,
just give you that information.
Yeah, no. And that's the thing. And I think a lot of people, when they first start out, they do that because they think that's the only way to grow. And most people find it annoying. And what I would say is, when I was first starting, when I commented on other people's channels, just giving them positive feedback and just being nice, being like, stuff like that, they would check me out in return, and we would form a relationship out of it. If I just comment on them, their thing saying, cool vid, sub, like whenever I get those now, when I see like, oh, this was funny, subscribe, sub back, ? Or, oh, I make videos on my channel, I just ignore them.
Yeah.
When I get someone, and I've noticed this, when I get people who just leave a supportive comment and I click on their channel, I've made some good friends from doing that. Like some people who I follow on Instagram now who I genuinely like, all they did was leave a comment on my video, and now we're just, friends. So do that, because establishing relationships with other creators is also a way to grow, and you can have someone to do it with you so you feel less alone, because knowing that there's other people doing the same exact thing, that's just going to make you feel better about yourself, knowing that there's people in your shoes, or people going through the same exact struggles of trying to grow a channel from nothing to something. So that's what I would say in a really long paragraph kind of essay format.
Yeah, because that's actually how I met Eric. Eric left a comment on my video, and when he left a comment that I thought was genuine, I checked out his channel, and here we are now. So it's
say something related to the video. Say something that actually happened in the video. Don't actually pretend like you watched it, because I can tell when people are pretending like they watched my stuff. But if they say a certain thing that happened in the video, I'm like, hey, this person actually watched it and found it entertaining. Let's go see what they have to do. And it's not self-promoting at all. It's just trying to form relationships. And I will say, I've had a lot of people who aren't even like necessarily like creators now, but have reached out to me and said, you commented on my video. I had a guy upload a video saying that I commented on one of his videos 4 or 5 years ago. And at the time I had, I don't know, not even 1,000, but it was a lot compared to him. And he said that made a long lasting impact on him, which I thought was like the craziest thing ever. I was like, really? It did? And so it's like those things go a long way. Like people really take those to heart. And so do that. Establish these relationships. People will remember you if you leave something like that. And obviously, like, creating content is a huge part. Like you can't just like be really supportive of other creators and reach out and not make good content. Like you have to do both. So yeah.
Like I said, we pretty much covered everything. So I guess now we just wrap up. Thank you everybody for listening to Social Media Introvert. Thank you, Eric, for being a guest.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
If you're watching this on YouTube, all of Eric's information will be down below in the description box. If you want to check him out, learn more about him. If you're listening to on a if you're listening on anything where you can stream, where you're streaming this right now, make sure you subscribe, leave a good review. That helps me a lot. Thanks. So yeah, thank you for listening, and I will see you all next time. Bye. Say bye, Eric.
Goodbye.
Thanks.